I just really find it extremely difficult to finally take action. I feel maybe overwhelmed, or the problem to solve is kind of too big.
Welcome to the inner space. This is for you if you need encouragement to be more yourself and explore your own path. Maybe because you feel different, too sensitive, or just not able to do things as everyone else seems to. There is a way, and it's your unique way. I'm Gloria Jansen. I am a coach, a healing artist, and a surfer. I am here to help you ride the waves of life, work, and business to find that deeper alignment with your creative and sensitive soul. If this feels like you, I invite you to know yourself better, feel all the emotions, and trust yourself, so you experience the freedom and fulfillment of being and doing you. Subscribe now to catch the next wave to the inner space, where authenticity sets you free. This episode is for you if you have a big project that has been dormant in your heart, in your head, in your soul, and you are not yet on the path to birth it, but you want to birth it. You've been trying, maybe you felt you didn't have time, you wondered, am I good enough to make this happen? How do I move? This feels too much. Then you will love this episode. I'm coaching Amy through exactly these blockages. This is a very powerful session. It will also be interesting to you if in your human design you are either a projector and or a profile with 6-2, like the lines 6 and 2. If you wonder what am I talking about, just Google human design, free profile, enter your birth details, so hour of birth, exact location of birth, and date of birth, and it will create your profile. Your type might be that one of a projector, maybe it's one of the other types, and still listen to that session today. Maybe you have the same lines as Amy, 6-2, and you will see I'm making references to it as I coach her. Beyond human design, this is really what the inner space, and more than the podcast, of course, my work is about, is helping you to move in your life from what's deeply inside of you. If I had to make it very practical, say, helping you with your professional career or your professional path. But when we speak on that soul level, as we do in that coaching session, it's not anymore about my professional path. It's about what you are here to do, what you are here to birth, so that living on the earth, I was going to say makes sense, it's not the word at all, but you are fulfilling what is lying inside of you. So that's where, me, myself, when I try to explain the different offers I have, I'm like, how can I phrase this? Because yes, of course, it's about your professional, because this podcast I'm doing it as a coach, also as an artist. So of course, it's my professional, but how also I see how to do business, everything for me is very much coming from that more spiritual side of, okay, I'm on this earth right now. I feel this thing inside of me that I want to move forward with, but yeah, how do I make space for that? Because that's the real reason. That's really what is making you joyful. That's the thing that will make you feel, oh, actually, I'm doing what I'm supposed to do and not wondering again, what is my life about? What am I here to do? When you're on that path, you're like, yes. It might feel hard at sometimes. It might feel easy, like all the emotions, but you know you are on the right path. And that's exactly this sensation that creates deep peace inside of you. This session feels very aligned with the work I do. So I'm really happy to share it with you. I just let you enjoy the session, and we see each other again in the conclusion. beyond the session. Of course, you will have your own thoughts. Please share them with me if you would like to in comment, rate this podcast, share it. That makes all the work I do much more powerful. Thank you and enjoy the session. Hello, Ami. I'm glad you are here. And to start, I would love to hear what brings you in this coaching session.
Hi, Gloria. I have a main question, I think, for you, and it's how do I overcome kind of like the freeze and finally materialize my ideas?
Can you tell me more about this freeze state? What's exactly happening for you? You can give examples, maybe.
Yeah, sure. One example is a project that I've been chewing on and pretty big questions that I've been grappling with the last few years, and they are related to how do we relate more authentically with each other. And generally, when I think about that and about how to implement a lot of ideas that actually come up there, I just really find it extremely difficult to finally take action. I feel maybe overwhelmed, or the problem to solve is kind of too big.
I would love to hear more about that. So you said you feel it's too big. Like, what's exactly happening inside of yourself? If you can describe the feeling, like the sensation in the body, the thoughts, like what is going through you in these moments.
So many things. I guess I start feeling like maybe I have some feelings of incompetence. I don't have enough skills or good enough skills to solve this problem or start solving it, let's say. I guess it's also a question of time because I obviously have a full-time job that is unrelated to this question. But mainly it is a feeling of incompetence and of this question is too big, I don't even know where to start.
And when you say this question is too big, can you tell me more about that?
Okay, so this is actually related to an existential crisis that I had a few years ago. And out of it, I kind of had a big realization that I would really love if we as human beings could relate to each other more authentically and still have an understanding of the systems in which we evolve in general, as well as to develop a little bit more self-awareness and critical thinking. So the idea is that I feel like we often just interact with each other based on assumptions, on our own biases, and often we are just not authentic in admitting that we have biases or that we can potentially be prejudiced and things like that. And I would like to, I don't know, kind of learn with the community or offer some learning space where we can learn together as a community to relate better with each other. However, whenever I think about this huge, I mean, for me, it seems like a pretty big problem to solve that I don't even know how to start solving.
So already from what you say, and that's just the beginning, what we are doing right now is mapping what are the things that are holding you back. And there are different things. There are some things which are more around the emotional side, which is, for example, feeling not good enough. Like, oh, I would like to do that, but am I able to? Am I really able to do that? Then there is one other part, which is more, I would say, practical, the time question, like how much time do I have? When do I do this? And then there is more, I would say, and that's intertwined. One part which is more your own feelings, and the other side also a more practical question of, okay, where do I start? How do I frame this project? What do I offer exactly? How would I like this to be? So to help you move forward, we need to separate these elements, at least at some point, to work on each so that you can move forward. Does it make sense so far?
Yeah, absolutely.
because we are trying to like paint the picture, do you see anything else? Is anything else missing that is blocking you in moving forward?
I guess it's also, I mean, there are a lot of insecurities in there, and I think they are also really related to the worry of what if I don't find enough resonance with my idea, and the fact that I am aware also that obviously that resonance might not be found because I might not be able to communicate the idea very clearly. And so those two aspects are important, I think, and they are very present for me.
So when you say to not find enough resonance, to have people like interested in the project, for example, or joining your community, you mean?
Yes, and to make this idea also digestible, because I think it's quite a big framework. So and I mean, I work in consulting, so this is what we do every day. We create frameworks and we translate them into actions and things like that. So how do I do this with my own idea? It feels also very personal. Maybe that is also a factor.
And when you said, I'm afraid to not manage to communicate clearly, what makes you think that you would not communicate clearly?
Because it's multi-level, it's really multi-layered also. And so it's not necessarily, I cannot communicate all levels and all aspects at the same time. So I have to, I guess, break it down and put the different pieces into an order that makes sense to my counterpart.
Have you ever done that? Like by yourself or with someone to break down the different ideas, try to clarify it?
I've tried, and I've already actually introduced the idea to my colleagues, to two colleagues at work that I trust. And I guess what was missing is more, concrete outputs. So there are two things. I think more concrete outputs, but also the format is not really defined as to how do I want to convey these key messages and these skills that I want to teach or learn in community.
So does it mean you have a vision that is clear? I guess, did people understand when, like, the two people you trust, did they understood what you shared?
Yes, I guess, but there are so many things that I think I also did not communicate everything, because this is what happens also when you put things in frameworks. You're forced to simplify and to create kind of a model, and therefore you have to remove a lot of details and nuances also.
It's interesting. My intuition that comes up when I hear you is you don't give yourself the space, maybe the time to first lay out like the entire vision, really, take space, time to make it, I'm going to say big in the sense of maybe it's a big mind map, or like really all the elements. You already try immediately to shrink it down in the framework as you're used to do, in your work. And it's like, but is it really what I mean? And this is maybe missing, and it feels like you're making it super small, and then I don't know how much you then resonate with the little parts you are sharing. Does that make sense?
Yes, actually, I did not even think of it before. That's an interesting, very, very interesting observation. Because in other contexts, I know that I definitely do that to kind of fit in a box myself. So this is interesting that you're saying this with this idea.
So from there, my feeling is, and we'll see what we are able to do today, because we have only one session, and as you've seen, there are different points. So let's see what is most helpful for you today. But also taking into account your human design. So you are a projector, and your profile, it's 6-2. And the line 6 in human design is really the people who have a vision. They're actually quite visionaries. So I can imagine, I have chills when I say that for you. I can imagine you are really able to craft that vision. And maybe it's this moment, which is maybe a bit dreamy. Give yourself space to just have this vision. I don't know if you're someone who is more visual, who prefers to write, whatever is your favorite communication way, just starting with yourself. Maybe you have a big paper, you draw something. Try to not go into the, your bias of work, where at work you would be, okay, so then, I don't know, create that box and that box connected to that thing. I can imagine that you have this habits. Just like give yourself the space to go into that dream that you have, because that's present. Otherwise you would not be here talking with me, because that's what is moving you forward. So I would really start with making that space. Let's see if we go into that now, or we talk also about the other blockages for you. But that's really something I would first give you, that spaciousness. Does that make sense for you to do that? How does it feel to imagine doing that?
It feels like freeing. It feels right. It sounds right. It sounds like again, I think you caught me a little bit off guard saying that. You pointed at something that I definitely need the space and the time. And actually, I am also planning to take a sabbatical from work. So maybe that's also some type of space that could be helpful.
And that's amazing. That could be a longer space, but even just, I love the way of working. I think it was the founder of Disney who said that. He's like, I go through different chairs when I work. And the first one is just the creative and giving space for everything. And once the step is done, then I move into the other chair, which might be like the person who is trying to make it more concrete. How would it look like? But you cannot do the two. It's two very different energies, because otherwise it's like you start imagining this, and then there is this other voice that comes in and says, but that's not even doable. What are you thinking, But then you didn't even have time to follow through with the idea you had initially, or the vision you had. So there is one moment for creativity, imagination, connecting to what you feel your heart is calling you towards. And then there is another moment where, okay, that's a beautiful decision, what's doable, and then go into more concrete steps, maybe smaller steps at the beginning, and how it builds up. So that's more in terms of how you want to move through it. So you also shared about, am I not good enough? Which makes sense, because every time you want to make it concrete, then the self-critical part comes in and then says, this is too big, you are not even able to do it. So it's like, then you're even more like stopping yourself. And then there is really the question of time with your full-time job. To know what we need to work on today, I would like you to give me an assessment of the different factors. How much do they play a role? So imagine you have a big circle that I know with being a consultant, you exactly know what I mean. It's like, how much I have 4 elements that are blocking you. So one is not feeling good enough. One is not having time because you have a full-time job. One is not knowing where to start. And the other one is not communicating clearly so that you find enough resonance. I have these 4 elements. Is that right for you?
Yes, that's.
And now if you have to give percentages, that's 100%. Which one, or if you can give percentages, or just in terms of priority, which one is blocking you the most? Is it not feeling good enough? Is it the time?
Not feeling good enough and not being able to communicate. Those would be the ones that represent more of the obstacle.
Okay.
Not knowing where to start is probably the third one. And then the time. The time is actually not that critical. I don't know. I would say 15% the time, but
yeah. And that makes sense too, because if you would know, I need to do this step, and this step, like having a clear path, it's easier to craft time for it. If you have a limited amount of time, but you're like, oof, this is so much, I don't know where to start, then it's hard to move forward. So it makes complete sense. So now we have 2 of them. We haven't talked much about the not feeling good enough so far. So I would love to have just a bit more information around that. What makes you believe you are not good enough to do it?
I guess that I don't have the required training or knowledge. That is one of those. And I feel like I have to maybe get yet another degree so that I can feel legitimate enough to even tackle such a project.
Okay, and I want to have the end of the sentence when you say I don't have the training, the knowledge for what?
To go out there with whichever message I would produce out of this project. I wouldn't feel legitimate enough, like people would need me to have a degree to say, okay, this person with this degree and this title who is telling me this, and therefore I believe what she's sharing.
And what kind of degree would it be? Do you know?
It could be psychology or neuroscience, or maybe even political science or education. It could be so many things, actually, but I am really far from those fields.
And how did you gather knowledge today about these topics? So if it's not through a diploma?
Reading a lot, reading a lot, and also listening to some podcasts, but especially reading.
What makes you relevant for this project because of your personal experience? What have you experienced in your life that makes you be relevant for this project?
First, it's a lot of observation from my worldview versus what I really see. It is related to experiences that I've had in my life, let's say, with discrimination, and the fact that whenever I would reach out for some empathy from people, I would be met maybe with hyper rationalization and explanation of whatever experience I've had instead of actual compassion and empathy. Also, because of my own experience, I've tried to also adapt how I respond to people and how I interact with people. And whenever someone shares an experience, that something that they're going through that even I cannot relate so specifically, I really try to connect to the emotion of the person, because that I know, because we are both human, right? I mean, specifically in my worldview, I think it's very helpful to understand how systems work and how critical thinking, cognitively but also emotionally, works. This is why I was saying it involves some self-awareness, understanding how your emotions react or function interdependent with someone else's emotions, actually, and understanding that a belief is not necessarily true. And this is where the critical thinking component comes into play, where we have to actually understand, okay, which information might have led me to believe this, and how does it interplay with emotions. So it's very complex. Sorry, it's all over the place.
It's perfect. Really, it's perfect. What you said already brought many insights for me. Before I respond back to what you said, you shared how you adapted your interaction, connecting with the emotion of the other person, because in the end, we are all human. How was that successful for you? Has it brought any success? Like, have you seen any changes in you change your way of interacting with people? What were the results?
In general, I noticed that whenever people would talk about an injustice they're facing or something very personal, that again I cannot relate to, connecting to the emotion allows for a barrier or protection that the person is having to drop, to just be much more authentic in how we relate with each other. Because it's not about having this mask and acting from it. We are both being vulnerable and just very human. So it's a deep connection, actually, what it allowed me to have.
So that's very successful. It creates something you are looking forward to and that you want to create. Okay, that's important for you to realize that your inner processing that led you to change your way of communicating, to have learned from experience, oh, people would not meet me with empathy. They try to overanalyze when that was not what I needed. And that experience has brought me to connect in a different way to people, to be more authentic and create that depth of connection. Your inner process led you to a successful way of interacting with people. That's important that you just see that for a moment. If I give you some feedback on what you have shared, you said it was messy, but for me at least it was not. My sensation, and tell me if I am wrong, when I hear you is, you know, we use that explanation just before where I told you you need to give yourself space for the vision before going into something very concrete. It's almost you have this too big, as you say, big vision, but then you try to shrink it down when you are explaining it to people and it doesn't feel complete for you. My sensation is now I talk about you, the person, is even when I hear you, you don't give yourself the credit, if I can say, the space for, hey, you are much more than you think you are. What do I say with that? It's not that some sentences you sometimes hear in personal development, but it's really the sensation is, hey, you don't realize your own path, your own experience. You are yourself seeing it too small compared to what you have to bring. If I rephrase it, and that's also something I can connect to your human design is, I told you you have the 6 in your profile and the line 2. The 6 is really about having this big vision, being a visionary person who usually is much more forward than other people. And you will find yourself in many situations where actually people are not there yet. You are already more advanced in your vision than other profiles. And then the line 2, the people with a line 2 really need someone to mirror back all their talents, everything they can do, because usually people with a line 2 are very naturally talented in what they do, but they don't realize it. And it takes really practice to realize, oh, it's true, I'm actually able to do that pretty quick, or you don't realize it until maybe people tell you, hey, I mean, you just did that. It took me years maybe to do that. You just understood it and you made it. When I reflect that back to you, have you ever made that experience?
Yes, actually a lot. Except the mirroring has been rather negative.
And that's the challenge, is because the mirroring happens always, but you might have some mirrors that have biases, that have deformations. I don't even know if you say that in English. The mirror has a defect and the person doesn't see you as you are. And then you're like, are we looking at the same thing? That's also happening a lot with the line 2. And also you are a projector, and I'm going to say a bit more after about that. I try to give you a few explanations through human design so it helps you. But really my sensation is almost, now I'm trying something to explain the sensation. You tell me, maybe I won't find the right words, but do you sometimes are afraid of feeling arrogant?
Yes, all the time.
So that's where I felt you were holding you back. I'm like, if let's imagine you feel you are, and even with me where it's a space, there is like no judgment, but I think it's so ingrained through your life experiences that for the fear of being arrogant or perceived in a certain way, let's make myself small and let's explain this, this, and this, see how the person responds. Then I will maybe share this, 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 and add this. And it's, you know, very cautious way of moving forward, probably because you didn't have good experiences and you've been hurt, whatever happened, you know. But imagine you're trying to make this big thing happen, but you only share little pieces. So for you, it doesn't feel probably true enough. You always feel, oh no, I didn't communicate clearly. Maybe that's your conclusion. And it will be also hard to have the resonance that you wish, because the people in front of you will be like, okay, that's it. But they didn't understood clearly, of course, because they didn't have the entire vision. For fear really of this, what will people think? Who am I to share this thing? You know, who am I to have this big project? What you would need now is this space where you can release the brake on the car, just go full into, hey guys, that would be my dream. Like I imagine this, I imagine that, you know, all the really go into your vision. And that's the key. as also a projector, now I connect back to your human design, is people come to projectors. That's approximately 20% of the population. You have 5 different profiles. People come to projectors for their way of seeing things, because projectors, that's to help you also validate skills you have. I'm saying that is, you phrased it. You will be able to listen to this session again and you will see how you phrased it naturally. That's why I love human design, because you already say what's in your design. You said, I'm observing a lot and I see what I really see. And then maybe you see what other people see. But this word seeing is key for a projector. It means you are probably not aware that you see things in a way that people don't see it. Or maybe other people will see it, but in 5 years, you already from the beginning very quickly see people, see situations. The word is piercing through. You have this ability. And I'm sharing so that you start giving more credit, more value to your vision. Because in the end, that's what people will come for. To you, to your project, it's how you see things, sharing how you see things. I just want to stop here, see how it feels or how you receive what I'm sharing.
I really followed everything and it made a lot of sense. I think you tied everything beautifully and gave me some insights into the projector profile that I did not understand fully before. I can really relate to what you're saying, and it makes me feel that I have a bit more trust in myself and in that vision that indeed feels like too big or too far away, but it gives me confidence in that it's something worth pursuing.
100%. And then now I'm sharing one of my beliefs is, if you have that calling to that project, then this is for you. You would not have all these insights, thoughts, sensations, ideas if it would not be something for you. It's not just, oh, I have this idea. No, there is something that is calling you towards that. So you are the person, and this is something for you to develop. Yes, it feels big at the moment, maybe because it is big, But for you to match the importance of that, I don't even want to call it project. It feels too small. It's not a project. Let's say if we stay with that word, with that vision, if you to match this community way of interacting, you need to let yourself be big. I said you make yourself small when you have this big vision. So you're like, oh shit, I'm a little mouse and I'm looking at this big elephant. Yes, that's normal that you feel it's too big, because you yourself at the moment see yourself as a mouse or act as a mouse when actually you are. And I really, when I say that, I sense it in your energy. You are 100% able to be that elephant, lion, whatever is the animal that feels bigger.
Ironically, the elephant is my favorite animal, so I love that.
I love it. Have you seen elephants in real life?
No, unfortunately, not yet.
I had a trip last year. I went to Kenya, and for the first time, I saw them in their habitat, not in a zoo. It's so impressive. The presence of the elephant is like, whoa. You don't move. You look at the elephant. They just stand still. They look at you. You see sometimes just the ears are a bit moving. It's a very impressive presence. If you love this animal, like if at some point you can do a trip, but at least tune into the energy. That can be a picture, a photo you have, and with you and yourself, I'm saying now, because at the moment I feel it's step by step, because when we fear judgment of others, that's the second step. The first step is with yourself, allowing yourself to be that elephant. With me right now, if you can, because I hope this is a safe space for you, or with other people where you feel, okay, here, people are not going to say like, hey, why are you trying to be an elephant? Like, you are not. Because giving that space so that you feel safe yourself with yourself. And then a second step is, once you are safe with yourself, then you can start sharing it with other people. I know we won't be able to go into all the depth probably of your vision and so on, but if we can take that metaphor for a moment, if you now let yourself be big, Can you tell me just what comes for you around this vision you have, project, if you want to call it, or at least this community you imagine? What's living inside of you?
Wow, it's difficult to answer that at the moment, I think, in a short, concise way.
Do you have to make it short and concise now?
You're exactly telling me, you're calling me out here. Thank you. I love that.
You can start wherever you want. It can be a story that brought you to that. It can be how you would like people to feel, what kind of interaction you would imagine at that space. We don't need to make a pitch about the project right now. How is your heart resonating with this vision? What would you like to happen there?
I'd like people to feel empowered in a way that they're not prisoners of systems. So they can actually question those systems and point at the vulnerabilities of them, and that maybe break through the cracks of the systems and break them apart and redesign them in ways that actually serve everyone and not just a few.
I love it. When I hear that, first again, I have chills for you. I feel what we're doing right now is super important for you. You know, every project, every vision, however you want to phrase it again, mission we have, each of us on this earth, is because of our life experience, because of our own needs. It's birthed within us. If you take every words I've used around what's this podcast about, it's for creative and sensitive souls, helping them to follow their unique path, which might be different from what's expected, but letting themselves follow their way of moving through life in a system where it's very standardized. And that's about my story. Why would I phrase it this way? Because I've lived it. I'm like, shit, sometimes it's a fight. When I hear what you said, like empowering people to not be prisoners of the system, break these systems apart so that it can serve everyone. Like, that's your story.
Yeah, wow. It's the first time that I formulated like this, actually. So thank you.
I have the tears coming up as I'm saying that, because I feel like that's in your soul. That's really what's moving you, and what is like almost, and now I have this bigger image of the elephant who is in a cage and it's like, hey, now do we go out?
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. Yeah, I also get emotional thinking about this, because indeed it's so close to my soul, as you say. Really, it's like the soul speaking there.
Take a moment just to breathe in, breathe out, for the gift that now happened. Now I've seen my soul a bit more. I've made space for what's in my heart. Just a few seconds. Stay with whatever comes up. Can be also other emotions. Make that space for that. And if anything comes up for you, just breathing in and out. There's nothing to be done now. When you feel it's right, you can come back to me. How are you feeling now? What's inside of you?
I feel like super joyful inside, like very calm on the outside, but it's really like joyful and alive, really. Oh, wow.
That's beautiful. I could tell you one more thing, but I want to know just if you would feel complete for now, at least if we would stop here the session, if you have another question or just that, and then I will ask you also another question.
I feel very good right now, so I feel like there is a circle that closed, and I don't have any questions at the moment, so thank you.
I have a question for you, because we want you to be able to move forward. What do you take away from today? That can be a first question. And what do you feel doing after this session?
Thank you. That's a great question. I feel what I take mainly from today is increased awareness of the little space that I take and how much I try to make myself small in my message. I was aware of that, but now it's wow. Really, I had no idea. And thanks to you also giving me this space and allowing me and actually encouraging me, really taking me by the hand and insisting that I take space, I feel like I want to just dream after this, like just really dream and just allow myself to take that infinite space that there is when you dream and just create when there are no limits and endless possibilities rather.
I love this. I love this because I wanted to check in your response to make sure you would not tell me, okay, now I need to have again a consultant one. And okay, so I need to create this, contact this people. Like, I wanted to check that you would not respond that, because that's really the step of making space for that dream. And as you are going to do that, maybe you will have another voice which will come up and say, come on, like, this is too big, you will not be able to do it. Every time respond to that voice if it happens, like, we'll see that later, thank you, because this voice also has good intention, even though it might feel restrictive. Put her back where she belongs. Now is the moment to really make space for that dream. And after, now I'm speaking about afterwards, when you will start to move with that dream. And maybe, it's fun, it's coming to me as I'm talking to you. That's really what this podcast is about. You will maybe move in a non-conventional way with your project, in the sense of you have this bias of your consultant mind who said, okay, now I have the vision. Okay, who do I need to contact? That's what I need to have in place to make it move forward. My sensation is maybe the step after will be to start sharing that dream, that vision. You need to find out how you want to share this. I don't know if it's on social media, if it's in networks, you are in groups, however. But sharing just that vision, how you see things, will then draw into your field, into your space, the people who help you to make it more concrete, or who maybe have similar visions. That's a more organic way to move what I'm sharing right now. That's why I say it's non-conventional, because usually most people will tell you, okay, do this, do that. You have to have that in place. You know it because of your work. But here it's, can I just move with life actually and share this vision, share how I see things, feel myself more and more comfortable with sharing that depth, that bigness, and see what life throws at me as I share this. Who comes to me, just dancing more with life instead of, okay, my logical mind says da 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 da. How does that land for you?
It makes a lot of sense. It sounds like going back to my nature, basically.
Love this.
Yeah, it just feels very organic, as you say, really much more natural. Thank you.
Oh, I love this. I love it, really. Again, I
Me
have
too.
chills. Oh,
Oh, wow.
beautiful. I feel I don't want to share anything else. I feel for you, my sensations inside of you, your soul is like, yes, we've done our work today with this session, and now it's with you and you can enjoy this.
Thank you. That's how I feel too. Wow, beautiful.
Thank you so much for coming, for sharing all of this. I felt this was very powerful also for me to lead you through that.
I'm very grateful, really. I was not sure what to expect, and you're a natural. You do this very intuitively. I love the freedom that we moved through this session with, and yeah, I thank you so much again.
How was this episode for you? I would love to hear. You know it. When you create something, you always love to have feedback and resonance to your work. Wow. As you've heard it, like, tears came up for me, also for Ami, many emotions. And when we feel, we know we're on the true path. That's always a good sign. And it was so powerful for me, so moving for many reasons. First, because in these moments, I feel like, hey, I'm exactly doing what I love to do. Everything I do makes a lot of sense, and I believe it's really a good way to see how I work. If you want to work with me, if you feel, wow, that's exactly what I need, you know where to find me. It's exactly what I believe in. It's making that space for what's lying inside of you to make it emerge. And I believe this earth would be a much better place, or even better place, if we would all be on that path towards ourselves. It's almost like I see a puzzle and the pieces would be in the right spot to then make us all move forward. From this session, I hope you get many insights on maybe how to move with your own projects, like giving yourself space for this creative dream time, vision, especially if you have a line 6 in your profile. It's super important. Don't criticize yourself for, oh, you're just dreaming, or oh, still not able to do it concretely, still not moving forward. No, there is really a time and space needed for that vision. Maybe start sharing it, even though it's not yet a project. Now I know why during the session I was like, oh, project. It's not the right word, because project is almost like the word itself is shrinking down, the vision that Amy has and that you also have in your life. There were many other things that I could have shared, because of course your human design holds so many information, but as I told to Amy afterwards, her project is very aligned with her human design for many reasons. And here you can see the power of moving aligned with your design. Yeah, many words and sentences she used as, oh, well, the freedom and feeling I go back to my nature. That's exactly the work I propose you, and especially that's really how I want you to move through your life. I don't even want to share more, because I feel this is so precious, what just happened. And for me, because I told you, like, it was also a very powerful session beyond the work we did for Amy, is I do this after coming back from my maternity leave. And if you've ever experienced that, of taking a longer break and being again in, of course, what you love, but also coming from a very different space where you had spent so much time with your baby. And it's re-putting myself back in, yeah, what I'm also here to do, and how can I phrase this, is it's exactly in the spot where I'm supposed to be. It makes me also want to create something new for you guys. Make actually the inner space not just a podcast, but a real space you would be able to join, where you could follow that mission, that heart calling, moving with your soul in alignment with your natural way of moving through life, of course, with the help also of human design. How does that feel for you? Is that something you would like to join? I'm co-creating the spaces with you. I don't want to create something that is just out of my mind, but I really sense that's something that would be powerful, and the space where, when I take the image of the puzzle, where my piece of the puzzle is in the right spot, so that you can also have yours in the right spot. If you like that episode, share it with friends, with anyone who would need it. Comment. Please rate the podcast. I say this again. This is how the algorithm will propose it to other people who need to hear that message. And subscribe if you haven't, to join the next episodes. Have a beautiful day, evening, or night. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining the inner space. Make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, or share it with someone who might need exactly this encouragement. And until next time, keep exploring your inner space, where authenticity sets you free.